Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Matt Tebow with Stacked, and today I am joined by Cloud9 ADC Zven after just a massive pub stomp against Dignitas. How are you doing, man?
Uh, I'm happy. The game was really good, and it was a fun game too. We started trolling a little bit at the end of the game because we knew the game was over no matter what happened, so we didn't really care too much about what actually happened in the game. But it felt like a good game. There was a little bit of mistakes early game, but after like 5 minutes, we made almost no mistakes. So I'm really happy with that. We were decisive. Game was a stomp, like you said, and it felt good to play the game. I think we also outdropped them really, really hard. So it feels good when your preparation pays off.
I was that's one of the first things I wanted to ask about was the draft. It looked like pretty much every lane in the except for like jungle maybe a little bit was like hard countered, like Lulu and Ashe
Yeah.
into like Senna Tom Kench, which I suspect knocked them off the fasting Senna strategy. Like
Yeah.
Tristana just shoves Twisted Fate into the sun and
Yeah.
Gragas deals with Renekton. So like when did you know the draft was won? Was it after
I
the
mean,
first character or the fifth character?
So already in the first three for both teams, I knew that Senna TK doesn't beat Ash Lulu. And if they go fasting, which is so Senna is actually better at fasting because she gets more souls, and souls give like a lot more gold now, and the range is really important. So fasting is better, but Tom Kench actually just can't farm as a Military Camp versus Ash Lulu. So then for the normal Senna ADC, I think that really sucks for the game. Senna had like 5 souls in 5 minutes this game, and he was really useless the whole game in general. And then I think picking Renekton into grab Ashlulu, even though he wins lane slightly by pushing, he doesn't do anything in teamfights ever. You saw he was getting kited and getting made fun of the whole game. So in first three, I thought, okay, they have a really big battle to a big mountain to climb here to come back and draft. And they picked TF blind pick. I think they should have picked jungle on 4. They picked TF blind pick into Tristana, which is bad already. And then yeah, I think there's nothing I can say on 5 pick Kane. It's a fine champ, but if you have no push in mid or in bot, you will very likely get double crapped. So that's what happened in the game, and Adron was really far ahead, and Kane had no impact in the game at all whatsoever. So I think picking TF4 was a big mistake, and I think picking Kane 5 was an even bigger one.
Uh, Moving on to that bot lane performance, how do you feel about your performance at ADC this year? It seems like though all the hype before the season was about perks, but it looks like the focal point of the offense has been through you essentially.
I think I played well in the early game. We were winning lane pretty hard, but I wasn't able to really get a huge lead because they have TF, and TF can just ult bot, right? I think in hindsight, I should have went cleanse so that TF can't gank us. I died to a TF ult around like 6 minutes-ish, and that kind of saved the ball in. They were like low on HP, out of potions, had to get a recall off, but if I have cleansed, they can't even gank me, so I should win lane a little bit less and understand that TF can't lane mid against Tristana forever, right? So he has to ult at some point, and if I don't have that ult, the game is just over for TF. So he still ganked bot and got a kill, but mid tower took like 3 plays of damage. So I think if I can just not die, mid tower will fall eventually to Tristana, right? That's the point of the counter pick. So I should have realized earlier that I wasn't the win condition in this game, and I should just play to push, get craft my jungler like I did, and then just not die to TF. And then the game will just slowly end itself because we have Tristana versus TF, and they have Kane, who has no crabs early game. He's very slow, can't gank anyone. So, yeah.
Do you think that's like the aspect of your game? It seems like you're very prescient about that. Do you think that's the aspect of your game you need to work on the most? Just taking yourself out of that like I'm the hyper carry mindset and stepping back in some matchups.
I think it's really important to recognize in your draft who is carrying this game and who is providing utility, or sometimes. So in this game, Fudge provides the tank, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't win lane. So therefore, I have to provide, or Lucas provide, a winning lane and push so we can get a crab at least. Because if you get double crab right now, it's really fucking bad for jungle. You fall far behind in experience, and it's really bad. So I provide the push and utility by giving vision and my engage with arrow. Vulcan provides same winning lane and utility, and Luca provides a carry champ in the game, Stana, right? So everyone provides something, and we have to understand that I'm pushing and I'm CCing, giving map hack to everyone with my E. Fudge tanking, and mid jungle is carrying, right? So in this game, I didn't do that because I took heal, not a cleanse, and I died with gank, which is not the end of the world, but not my job in this game. It's not to play with heal and win lane. It's to play cleanse and just push and get crabs and utility.
So officially after this win as well, Cloud9 is sitting first in LCS standings at least until 100 Thieves either wins or loses, at which case you'll either be tied or you'll stay in first for the time being.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think that really does you guys a service is the fact that you guys have both retained a core of like 3 or 4 people. Like you, Sven, Vulcan,
Yeah.
Blabber, and 100 Thieves has that Golden Guardians roster plus Someday.
Yeah.
This is a two-parter. Do you think that team synergy has helped you guys thus far? And when you talked about your ability to recognize who's carrying and who's utility, do you believe that your team does that better than anyone else in the league?
I think the two things you mentioned are true, because one of these gets carried really hard by the fact that they have identity already, so they can focus on not figuring out what's our identity, but figuring out how to get better at that, right? Some teams have this huge thing where they don't know who's carrying which game and what to draft, what to play, what to do, when to do what. And one of these and us can just focus on getting better at the game. You know, some teams like TSM, for example, early on had problems with that too. I think they found their growth now, so that helps. And I think that we always know, given the draft, who's carrying and stuff. So I feel confident that. I mean, really, but to move back, I think us keeping our core of me, Vulcan, and Blabber was good. But the best thing for us was the login tournament. I think last year we had a bootcamp in Korea before Spring Split. This year, because of COVID, we couldn't go. So the login tournament was a 17-game tournament for us. The most games of anyone in the LCS, actually. We played 2 5-games series and 1 3-game series against TSM. So we got so much practice out of those games compared to everyone else that we actually just reached, like, normally in the early Spring Split, you had these, like, sloppy games at first. The game quality is kind of low, but then as it goes like week 4 and 5, you get better. But thanks to the login tournament, we skipped all the sloppy games and got straight to the good part. That's why I think we're coming out the gate very strong now. I think some teams like TL said they're feeling burned out. That's kind of weird to me, but I think some teams got figured out pretty quickly. They used all their gas in the login tournament. We didn't, and now we're looking strong.
Mm-hmm. Just got a couple minutes left, so I want to wrap this last question up real quick. I want to get your thoughts on the import rule, and I also want to get your thoughts on what Regi said to Vulcan on Twitter last night.
I don't really read Twitter, and I don't go into too much about like Twitter drama, but obviously what he said was really fucking out of place, I feel like, but it's whatever. I don't want to get into it personally. And as for the import rule, I think that removing the import rule would be weird, because what happens to EU then, or China? Because if China can import more Koreans, like China's best teams historically, like FPX and IG, had Korean players on them, like Dornby and the Shy and Rookie, right? So what happens to those teams? Do they get more import slots as well? What happens to academy leagues? Like all this kind of stuff is with me, and I feel like the viewership wouldn't increase in any at all. I think a lot of people wouldn't want to watch like tier 5 Korean players playing in any academy, or you know, EU players that are not even very good playing in LCS. I don't think teams would actually enjoy it, or viewers would enjoy it better. So I don't think that removing the import rule fixes the problem, but I also haven't put enough thought into it that I can really say for sure what it will change. So I mean, I'm an import, right? So I don't think I'm losing my job. But I think that there are some good NA players, like Vulcan and Blabber, for example, are very good examples of this. Tactical is actually a talent as well. We will see if he's world class one day. I think he could be very easily. So I think that there are good players, but it's also true that there are only 5 NA players in top 5 teams, or 6, whatever it is. So I feel like they could maybe increase the import slots to 3, but then make it so that no one is grandfathered in NA, because at this point it doesn't even matter there's import rules, because people eventually get grandfathered anyways, like Impact and Jensen, for example, Svenskeren, Bjergsen, list goes on, Puni. So like some teams like TL have 4 imports anyways. So what does it matter if there's import rule? TL has 4 imports anyway, and I'm sure at some point they will get another one if they have to, right? I mean, let's say one day Tactical plays pretty bad. I'm sure one day he gets replaced by a Korean player once, Cordy J or whatever gets their green card and they become grandfathered resident. Then 5 imports. So what does the rule actually matter? If that's how it's gonna go anyways. So I don't know. I don't think I'm the best person to answer this question because I haven't put enough thought into it. And I don't know the logistics behind all of it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think import rule should not change too much.
Well, it sounds like you've put enough thought into to give a pretty articulate answer. Once again, this is Cloud9 ADC Zven, and I'm Matt Tebow with Stacked. You can find us online at stack.gg and follow us on our socials at StackedLOL. Zven, thanks for coming to take the time to talk to me, man, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you, Matt. See ya.